Madame Charlotte LAURSEN, the first female ambassador of Denmark to Vietnam, has just officially taken the office. She has a deep concern to the people and the country of Vietnam. Previously, she used to serve as the deputy head of Danish embassy in Vietnam from 2004 to 2007. Since August 2015, she has become the Danish ambassador to Vietnam.
My name is Charlotte LAURSEN and I'm now the ambassador to Denmark here in Vietnam. I've been here for the past 2 months. Before that, I was working at the Foreign Ministry in Copenhagen for a number of years. I think it's so good to see that much of it is still the same, and at the same time there is a lot of new things taking place here. It has been a big wish for me to come back to Vietnam. I really love to and see the development. Denmark has been working with Vietnam in development cooperation for many years, and it's so good to see the development that has taken place in the socio-economic field, so I'm very happy to be back.
Vietnam and Denmark have established the diplomatic relations since 1971. The Comprehensive Partnership Agreement between Vietnam and Denmark and the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement have created the foundations for the relationship transition from development cooperation to strategic partnership in all areas, including political dialogue, trade and investment, green growth, as well as education and culture. In today's program, we will find out more about the first experience of the Danish ambassador to Vietnam in exploring Vietnamese people and culture.
Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam on VTC10 Netviet. I'm Nhận. In our program today, we have a talk to Mrs. Charlotte LAURSEN, new Danish ambassador to Vietnam. She's just been here for a while and very curious about Vietnamese culture. So let's find out more about her first experiences in Vietnam in our program today. Thank you, Ms. Charlotte LAURSEN, for joining our program today. Well, first of all, I know this is not the first time that you've been here, but you come back with a new position. So what did you think about the new development of Vietnam recently?
You're right. I was here 8 years ago. I lived here from 2004 to 2007 and worked as a deputy head of the embassy, and now I'm back after 8 years in Denmark. And I think the economic development over the past years in Vietnam is quite visual. I can see new highways, new bridges, many new high buildings and shopping malls, and I think not least cars in the street. So I think there has been many changes since I was here last time, but thankfully there's also much that is still the same, and especially the Vietnamese people and your friendliness, your sort of determination to work hard to ensure development in your country.
Right. So how many provinces have you been traveled to? And what do you think about Vietnamese landscapes?
I have not counted it, but I have traveled a lot, especially last time I was here. I have traveled from north to south. I've been to Sapa in the north and Dak Lak in the highlands, and then I have of course been to Hoi An and Da Nang and Nha Trang, and in the south been to Ho Chi Minh City and have a chance also to sail on the Mekong River. So I have traveled along the country and have seen this beautiful landscape and very different landscape.
So during the time of living and working in Vietnam, what kind of issues and topics that you are interested in?
I mean, last time when I was here, we mainly focused on development cooperation between Vietnam and Denmark in various sectors, and I was responsible for fishery, for admin reforms, many things. But now with Vietnam becoming a middle-income country, the development assistance from Denmark will come to an end very soon, and then this time I will focus on developing a more comprehensive partnership between Denmark and Vietnam. We have had diplomatic relations for almost 45 years, so we have a strong, I think, friendship and partnership, and now we will have to develop that even further politics, in culture, and not least in trade and investment. And on a personal scale, I hope to have more time this time to enjoy the Vietnamese culture and art. When I was here last time, I had 3 small children, so I did not have so much time to go to the opera or art galleries. But now I only have a teenage daughter with me, so we will enjoy Vietnam and all the culture and good food here.
Yeah, right. So we are living in Hanoi, capital city. What do you think about this city?
Oh, I love it. I really love it, and this is also why I have chosen to come back. It's so nice here, and I think we talked about before all the development that has taken place. I think one of the good things is that the inner city of Hanoi and the old quarter has not changed. And I think that's make Hanoi so special compared to other Asian cities, and I really hope that it will remain as such, even though Vietnam and Hanoi develops over the coming years.
So it seems to be that you're kind of very excited about this city. Why don't we have a trip around the city to find out more about the Vietnamese people and culture?
I think it has been very interesting to go here and see this museum, and that helps me a lot. I think it will be useful in my work that I have a deeper understanding of Vietnam and your history and culture. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Charlotte LAURSEN. And now we'll come into a short clip introducing our trip to Vietnam Museum of Ethnology.
Today, we are going to visit the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology in Hanoi. It is one of the most famous attractions for local and foreign tourists. Since its inauguration in 1997, the museum has attracted nearly 1.1 million visitors, of which nearly 500,000 international visitors from over 40 countries and territories. It is the Storage and Artifacts exhibition, which describe cultural traditions, daily routine of Vietnamese people. We are standing at the Bronze Drum Building, an exhibition space of 54 peoples of Vietnam. It has nearly 15,000 artifacts to reappear the daily life of the Vietnamese people. The exhibits are mostly of ethnic fabrics, such as loincloth, skirt, and scarves, woven with different traditional techniques. Bamboo kneading supplies are the typical trades of Vietnamese peoples, such as baskets, trays, musical instruments, and ritual objects.
Well, normally they would have I don't know, they have sauna underground. They put everything up to store for a long time.
Besides the displaying about the culture and life of Vietnamese peoples, the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology also has outdoor exhibition area with 10 buildings of 10 ethnic peoples. The most prominent is the Rong House, a typical architecture of highland peoples. It is where all activities of a community take place, from the customary rites and traditions to the festival of highland peoples. Rong House is a sacred and important place of the spiritual, religious, and daily life of villagers. Another construction is also quite popular in Vietnam, the Tonkin House of King People. The house was designed with quaint rustic style, thatch roof, and red brick ground. The door is always covered by a wooden threshold, which is higher than the ground. Inside the house, water puppets are displayed. That is a unique folk art born from the wet rice civilization. The puppets are controlled to act on the water, combined with traditional music to describe the daily activities of Vietnamese people. That is such an amazing tour for Madame Charlotte LAURSEN. She somehow learns more about the beauty of traditional culture of Vietnamese peoples. At the same time, she gets to know the Vietnam Museum of Ethnology, ranking 4th out of 25 most attractive museums in Asia in 2014 due to the leading international tourist website TripAdvisor.
So today we went to Vietnam Museum of Ethnology, a very popular place for the foreign tourists to Vietnam. What do you think about this place? What kind of information do you got after our trip?
Oh, I have learned a lot, I think. It's a very modern museum here. I also see a lot of tourists and a lot of Vietnamese children here, so I think it gives a good knowledge about Vietnam tradition and all the different ethnic minorities. I've learned that there are more than 50 different ethnic groups in the country, so I think that has been very exciting, and also to have this visual view of your differences in Vietnam.
Okay, so how will the experiences have you to learn more about Vietnamese people and culture?
I think exchange of culture between countries is so important, and not least in a world, in a globalized world. I think it gives you sort of a will and to learn more about a country. It gives you a better understanding of why people behave and react as they do, and so I think it will help me in my work and my interaction with different Vietnamese groups to have been here and seen some of their history and background.
So how do you feel about the culture of Vietnam? What kind of impressive features in Vietnam to you?
I love Vietnamese culture. It's very different from Danish culture, and I think that is why it's so fascinating in a way for a Westerner like me. It's in many ways different. I like Vietnamese artists' paintings and
Just like this?
And like this, and I have once been to the puppet show with my children. We like that very much. Again, it's so different, but you also have new and more modern culture and arts, which I also enjoy very much. Your music, so there is a lot, and not least your food. It's also a cultural features that I like very much.
So last but not least, can you share more about your plan in Vietnam during your term of office?
I would very much like to see our partnership develop even more. I think we are very good friends, our two countries, and this is a very good background to start with, but I definitely hope we could develop our relations even further, and I especially hope to see more trade between our two countries. We have many Danish companies here already, but I definitely hope they would come more and do some more investments here in Vietnam. I think cultural exchange is what we also sometimes talk about as public diplomacy. I think this is an important part. What I would very much like would be sort of to tell the Vietnamese people the story about the modern Denmark, where we focus on environment and green tech and design and innovation, and that is what I would very much like to focus on over the coming years, because I think that would also help in our relationship of having more commercial linkage between our two countries.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Charlotte LAURSEN, for joining our program today. And that is also the end of our program Sharing Vietnam. For comments and feedbacks, please send it to sharingvietnam@netviet.tv.net. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.